Hello, welcome back to the Valley Unicorn YouTube channel, where we promote self-love and creativity, and I sometimes get into the culty stuff. Today I'm just doing a casual storytime live. Didn't really super plan anything. I just was talking to someone over Facebook and asked if I could share her name and some of my side of the experience of being asked to get her to marry my brother and how that was. But yeah, so let me think. How did that go? Like I said, I did not prepare for this. I'm just kind of I've been gone for a while. Hey, Irina, always the first one here. It's good to see you. So yeah, her. Hey, Christy, Sandy, pumpkin spice latte. Oh, yeah, I'm back. I get really shy, surprisingly, but I wanted to, hey Mary, share some of my experiences because I was thinking about this a little bit, and I'm glad that she said I could share her name. But her name's Nicole, and she's one of Paul's daughters. And back when I was in the order, and if you don't know who Paul is or what I'm even talking about, like the order is a polygamous group here in Utah. It's the Kingston clan or the what are they other names do they have? I forgot. But let's see. Hey Darcy. Hey Crystal. So yeah, basically it was kind of a weird situation because Nicole was trying to leave the order, and so she hadn't decided, I guess. She was like kind of leaning towards leaving. They were trying to get her to stay. And I was working with her mom at the school at the time as the lunch lady. And so I guess because there was already a connection there, my dad asked me because she was going to karate, and they were all worried that she was gonna meet an outside guy at karate and then leave the order, which she was already like leaning towards leaving the order. I could be so wrong. This is my view on the story. I'm hoping like that I can talk, maybe do a podcast with Nicole and get her side of it. I think she does a podcast sometimes, but I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. I know I've been hiding out. I don't know why. I do know why, but anyways, maybe I'll tell you guys another time. But yeah, so I'll just get to some of the story, if I can even think. So yeah, I'm working with her mom in the kitchen. Actually, her mom, funny story, is the reason I learned how to say no, because I had to learn how to say no because I would get signed up for weddings, like catering all these weddings, because her mom would just say yes for me, and because we worked together. And so yeah, that's how internet we were. And in fact, we even had a birthday party when we were trying to get her to marry my brother. It wasn't me that threw this party, but like the parents, all the parents, her mom, my dad, and then I even catered part of it, my own birthday party, but it was like her birthday party and my birthday party because our birthdays were only a couple days apart. And so it was a really big party because you had Paul's family and Daniel's family getting together. And yeah, and they used me because she was already friends with Chanel and Colleen. And so they were using me to kind of get her to come back, or like get her to like marry my brother, basically. And I even, like, the first time I was told to go to karate, I actually did it for like, I think I went for a little while, and then I was just saying I was going and taking the money and stashing it away, which ended up working out really well because that's how I had a savings. When I did get kicked out, I still had a little bit of money in an outside bank account. But yeah, I just remember it's really hard in that culture to I did a lot of things I'm not proud of, okay? So like I didn't know I was pretty loyal to a lot of their belief systems, and I'm trying to figure out how I can explain it so that you like someone out here could understand. But basically, when someone above you asks you to do something, you're supposed to do it. But then at the same time, like if someone does something bad, like the way they've taught us is that you care about them so much that um, you basically tell on them, because if you're really their friend, you want them to be a better person. So you want to basically control them to be who they're supposed to be. So like when her and one of my sisters pierced their ears, I told on them. And then it was kind of funny. We were at a dance, and then she like, did you tell on? Or she asked me, and she confronted me. She slapped me, and then she felt bad. But it's just we were just always with each other, because honestly, I was always watching out for my sisters. I was very overprotective of them, and they were hanging out with her, and so I would basically not leave them alone, and ended up being friends too. And so that's why I was asked to be the one to go to karate and to kind of watch out for her. And then I worked with her mom every day, so I could basically report back um, if there was anything that happened or whatever. Oh, let's see. Grace, when are you? Okay. Okay, I am just trying to get through my story, and then I will read your guys' comments. Yeah. Oh, they did. They pierced their ears. I think they just got ice. This would be a question for Colleen, because she knows, she was one of the ones involved. But I think they just used ice and then like a safety pin and just did it themselves. But this will be fun to ask Nicole when she's in town, if like her side of things, because my memory is just what I can remember, and I remember my side. It would be interesting to see if they were always trying to get rid of me. But even during Sunday school, I would slough, because they would slough. And I say because I freaking sloughed like the last 5 years I was in the order. I didn't ever go to class or whatever. Because I was so nervous they were going to ask me to read the Bible or something in front of everyone. And I was so nervous about reading in front of people. So anyways, but I remember we were sloughing, and there was one of her half brothers sloughing with us, and he swore, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's so bad. He said the F word, and I was so upset that she would even want to hang out with him because he said the F word, and how bad is it to say that? And yeah. But yeah, I was a different person, and I'm really uptight. Honestly, I think they like my dad messed up by, I was loyal to the order by not treating our family good. Like, I don't know. It's kind of his his loss. But yeah. Okay, so trying to get through this story, but I can't remember it. I just remember hanging out with her so much. And there was even one time, because she knew that we were trying to get her to marry this guy. And there was one time we were at a wedding, or I think it was a wedding. It might have been a reception, but we were sitting right next to each other. So I think it was a wedding. And she was like, I don't want to marry him. He's my cousin. And I was like, well, and this is what was going through my head at the time, because I had been working with her mom, and like I wasn't emotionally invested in the group. I believed everything I was taught. And what I was thinking about was, even though I haven't had direction on her, maybe if I go forward, that would keep her in the order, and she would still have a chance. Plus, it's girl's choice, but I could help her make a better choice than go and be on the outside. And so, like, we were sitting and she next to each other, and at this reception, and she's like, I don't I don't want to marry him. He's my cousin. And I was like, well, if I was to go forward, would you consider marrying me? And she's like, at first she's like, yeah. And I was like, we're more related than, like, you and me are more related than him and you, because our moms are related. And she's like, oh no, I wouldn't actually. You're right. That's gross, or something like that. And it was just funny. But where my mind went at the time was like, oh, I'll do anything to keep her in the order. Like I would. So even after I got used to like watching out for my sisters and watching out for Nicole, the best I could, like, but with still giving her freedom. I never tried to make her, like, I basically told her they want you to marry this guy, and then that was it. And then I just hung out with her, and we got kind of close, but I haven't really been in touch with her since I left. So it'll be interesting to see if we can reconnect at all. But okay, I keep getting distracted because it was weird. So Daniel wanted me to go to this karate class, and then to ask her to marry this other brother. So I wanted to talk to the brother because I was like, if I'm going to do this, I want to make sure that that you had direction, or like that this is the right thing, because it feels really weird. It doesn't feel like order standards. Like I'm basically pairing off. I'm going on dates with her practically. Yeah, there's other people there, but not always. Like sometimes it's barely me and her, and then like maybe one other person. No, I think there was a couple times it was just me and her. So yeah, that was kind of weird. And so on Weekend Crew, this is another weird part of the order. They had Weekend Crew where the guys would go work at the coal mine, and the coal mine is like one of those things. It's like you're supposed to do this, and after you do this, somehow it gets you a wife. I don't quite understand. I never quite understood how it worked, but at the time, and it still doesn't really make sense other than money, right? And maybe you're trading your labor for a wife, which is kind of scary to think about, because if you're being paid in an individual, that's kind of how you're going to look at that individual. But anyways, so on Weekend Crew, I was there with my half brother, and I'm asking him, I say, what was your direction on Nicole? And he tells me some dream he had, which ironically, he's like, Nephi mentioned in one of his videos that we have brothers that will just have dreams. He's kind of one of those brothers that will just have dreams if you need something to happen. So yeah, so I was just, but I believed him. I was really naive. This is one thing about me, is like I'm really trusting. So I've been betrayed, but you can't really be betrayed by someone unless you trust them, right? So, but anyways, I'm more guarded now, but I was really trusting. I believed him, and I was like, okay, so he had direction on her. That's who he's supposed to marry. So I'm gonna do my best, but also I want her to have a choice, because it's girl's choice is what I always believed at the time. And so I started going to karate with her, and she even had a boyfriend at the time. Well, I don't know when the boyfriend came up, but I actually thought her boyfriend was really cute at the time. But I never told her that. But yeah. So anyways, I do remember when it was finally official and she was like basically completely out of the order, and there was nothing we could do to get her back. We still, like, Chanel and I still kind of hung out with her. And there was one time in particular I remember that my mom was really upset about us going over there. But I think I was going over there to watch out for one of my sisters that were over there, or I don't know. Somehow there was some kind of argument, like, but it was always okay for me before to go hang out with Nicole. But this day particular, like there was some kind of power trip going on. Like, I don't know, but Daniel got involved or told my mom to call. So basically, I'm hanging out with Nicole, and my mom calls and says, "You get home right now, or I'm gonna call the cops and tell them that you stole your car, because she has the title to my car or some shit, right?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, I did come home, but after I got home, I was like, um, "Okay, mom, uh, give me my title and give me all my like social security card, like all the documents you've lost having access to that." But like she was basically told to do that by Daniel, because I guess they didn't want me to hang out with them anymore, or with Nicole anymore, because she did officially leave. I don't know if it had to do with like who she was dating at the time or what, but they finally gave up on trying to get her to come back. Oh, thank you guys for talking to each other, because I am just going off, and then I'll get back to these after I like finish my story. And I kind of feel bad. So like I worked with her mom for like years. I think I worked with her mom for like 5 years in the kitchen. Maybe not quite 5 years. I think it might have been close though. And I wasn't always nice to her mom. We were really close at first, but then there was like things that happened where there was information that I thought was confidential, and she had spread it to like a Paul's family meeting. And that was interesting working with one of Paul's wives, because you kind of found out about things that were exclusive to Paul's family. For example, so because Paul had so many wives, then if a wife, like if it was his day to go stay at her house, she would come in like a half a day late. Like she would come in like 4 hours late the next day, and you would know that the reason she was so late was because Paul came over the day before, which I thought was really weird, because in Daniel's family, um, it didn't matter if it came over or not. You still go to work at a normal time. But the other wives even like kind of worked it out. Like there was other of Paul's wives that worked there, and they all kind of knew that. It seemed like they all kind of knew that you get like half a morning off or something when he comes over, which is like, you probably need it, honestly. The way that they tell you to treat your husband, and especially the leader, you're like supposed to treat him like the highest God in heaven. And I know that when Daniel came over, there was a lot of times that my mom tried really hard, and she had like a steak dinner prepared for him when he got there, and his clothes were all ironed out, and he had like his own like dresser, and everything was like perfect that was for him. But I don't know, I guess with Paul's, another thing that was interesting with Paul's family is um they don't I'm hoping I'm not remembering this wrong, but I think that they get a house for free. Like they get to live in a house, and they don't have to pay rent to the husband, which in Daniel's family, that was also different. Like if you married, but my mom paid Daniel rent. So like for the place that we lived. So that's kind of weird. Val, we've been talking, but we still are listening. Good. I want you guys to just like entertain yourselves for a minute, because I'm hoping I'm entertaining enough, but if not, that's fine too. So I don't know. I just remember her mom being like a tornado, and like always like busy, busy, and she always needed help. So I would come in to the school. I don't know what I was doing, probably delivering groceries or something. And I'd be there like on a random weekend day, and she would be there making like catering a wedding, but she wasn't going to get there in time. And she'd be like, "Can you please help me? Um, this is supposed to be done by 1 o'clock." And I'm like looking at the clock, and we only got like, okay. And we made it happen. And that happened so many times. And there was like I told you earlier in the video, I had to learn how to say no. And she's the one that taught me how to say no, because all my time was being occupied by these weddings and catering and all these things that she was volunteering me for. It got to the point that she wouldn't even ask me anymore. She was just like, oh yeah, me and Val can, I guess it was Gerald at the time, we can just cater this wedding or whatever. And I wouldn't even, that's how I knew about a lot of the secret weddings. And I had a pretty good reputation. I thought that maybe that's my reputation was the reason they had me try to go to karate, like with outsiders and Nicole, to try to bring her back. But I don't know. That was a really interesting experience. Oh, and this girl, Nicole was gorgeous. She looked like Jessica Alba at the time, and like I don't know how I don't know how they thought they could get her, because they didn't. But we love. I really appreciate you guys being here to listen to this. I'm surprised all you guys are still around, because I like disappeared for a good minute, but I just got really caught up doing other things. Let's see. So I guess if you guys have any questions, I know I was like all over the place with this, but if you guys want to ask me any questions, I'll happily answer what I can. I'm sure I'm gonna. Oh, we're talking about earrings. I've never got any piercings, or tattoos, and it's not because I mean, at first it was because of the way the order taught me not to, and then I left so old, right? Like I was 23 by the time I left. And this whole thing with Nicole, I think I was I want to say I was like 20, 19, 20, maybe 21. So it was still a couple years before I left, and I was yeah. Oh my gosh, I was so mean to her mom one time though after she left, because there was some things that went down, and like the personal information that I thought was confidential, she had shared with a mom's meeting, a Paul's family meeting, so everyone knew about it, and I didn't really appreciate that, because I told her in confidence that like, and she told everyone basically to stay away from my sisters, and I was like, so I kind of got really. This is one thing I feel like now looking back. I overreacted, and I don't like to hurt someone deliberately that I care about. But if I don't care about the person, then who cares? But like I did care about her, and I still do, kind of. But she's order and married to Paul, so that's weird. But yeah, she was also the one. Her mom was also the one that was at the office at the time of me getting all the rest of my money, and she was one of the ones trying to get me to sign a paper. Not because she was just doing what she was told, because Paul called her because I showed up with cops at the bank. But anyways, I'm getting way scatterbrained here. But what? So I kind of got mad at her and told her, because she was telling everyone basically to stay away from my sisters because they're bad news and they're bad influences. And then I was like, my sisters are still in the order, because at the time they were. Like Chanel was still in the order, and I don't, because this is before they got married. But and then I was like, and your daughter's not. So but that's basically so to put that in perspective for everyone out here, that's basically me saying your daughter's going to hell. Like that's not a very nice thing to say. And so she got really upset, and she didn't work with me for a little while after that. But yeah, Tattoos are addicting. Yes, as hell, Melanie, because honestly, that's why I haven't got tattoos. Because I feel like I'm with no tattoos, I'm a blank canvas and I can do like anything, right? But if I start getting a tattoo, I think I'm never gonna stop. Like I think I'm just gonna fill up my whole back and then maybe some like shoulders and who knows. But I think it would cost me like with all the tattoos that I think I want, it would cost like 10 grand. So I probably don't need to be doing that because I could spend 10 grand on something else if I had 10 grand to spend on stuff. Probably wouldn't be tattoos. Let's see. I was a teen shit. Just kidding. I would sneak out and would make her tell. Let's see. Sorry. I'm just gonna make sure I understood this. Oh, your sister would sneak out, and she would, and and you would make her tell you where she's going, so she would so you could keep the door unlocked, and if she wouldn't tell you, you would just lock the door. That's funny. Until 1 a.m. Do you know what's interesting? I had my bedroom door or my bedroom at my house when I was in the order. I had 2 bedroom doors. One was to the outside, like I could literally leave at any time, and then one was to the rest of the house. And I never did utilize that door. Like, what the hell was wrong with me? Because now, looking back, I'd be like, why wouldn't I? I did try to. I remember, oh my gosh, this was kind of mean to my mom at one point because once I started dating guys, I kind of got a little bit like I can do whatever I want type of thing. And so she knew I was dating guys, but it wasn't like no one else really knew. And so I think I was telling her, or I don't know how the conversation came up, but she basically was like, I don't want you to bring any guys over here. And then I was like, well, I pay this much in rent and I can pay this much in rent here, or I can pay it somewhere else. But anywhere I go, my boyfriend is invited. So, and at the time, my boyfriend wouldn't come over because he was terrified that the order people would like throw rocks at us or kill him or something. I don't know. And I thought it was such a joke at the time. Of course, I didn't really tell anyone either. But trauma bonded from leaving through the door. So honestly, it's funny that you bring up trauma bonding because that's kind of how I feel like maybe me and Nicole aren't close now is because it was so much of a trauma bond when we were there that I think I haven't given that relationship a chance because of what it was when we were there. Sorry, I get so distracted, you guys. You already know this probably if you watch. Thank you for watching. We're getting up to the half-hour mark and I don't want to like bother you guys too much. They told me grandpa was the bishop. Oh, so did you guys do anything rebellious? Did you guys pierce your ears with like ice cubes and a safety pin? What else did they do that was fun? I guess I'm telling their secrets like I did. Like I was that innocent. I wasn't that innocent. I got my ass kicked once because of these girls. I don't know if I should go into that story though. But I picked a fight with someone that was a black belt and it didn't work out for me. But so let's see. I would love to have Nicole on here and we could have I just don't know what to share without her here because I don't want to like even like today I did ask her if I could even use her name about this story because I don't want to like share someone else's stories. Also, I feel like I might be remembering things wrong. My point of view, I mean, I'm sure there's like 3 sides to every story, right? There's like my side, their side, and then the truth or whatever. But yeah, I drew pictures on my furniture and pierced my belly button. Oh, I feel like the belly button would be easy to hide from your parents, honestly. I'm trying to think. My mom, honestly, I didn't really hide anything from her because we kind of had a different kind of relationship. Maybe in the oldest, she required quite a bit of help from me. And so I kind of got away with a lot. Like I could do almost anything I wanted. I just had to communicate that with her. And it was funny because I was hanging out with when I went to the Idaho potato farm, then I made friends there, and they had to ask their parents if they could go to the skate park. And I was like, "You mean tell your parents?" And they're like, "No, we got to ask." And I was like, I didn't understand that because with my mom, I never had to ask anything. I just told her. I'm like, ever since the time I was 14 and had a full-time job and could pay for whatever the frick I wanted and anything else to fill up the house, then I kind of had free reign to do whatever I wanted as long as the bills were being paid and the kids were being taken care of. Did you feel authority over the kids? They asked you to go to the skate park. So I feel like I had a reputation, and this is just me being so fucking self-righteous. It's ridiculous. I can't even. Like I was so fucking vain with the fucking righteousness. Anyways, um, I was like, well, did you tell your parents I would be there? Because I had like fucking ego that thought that I was like, if I'm gonna be there, nothing bad's gonna happen. Like it was such. Oh my god. I'm sorry to even tell you that. Hey Amanda. Uh, did you feel authority over the kids? They could. Oh my gosh. So being the oldest was a different kind of experience. I feel like Cami had a weird, similar experience. Oh shit! I shouldn't have read that out loud. That's funny. I think being the oldest is so. So I was listening to a podcast the other day. I don't know if you guys follow. What is it? Diary of a CEO, and he was talking to this guy, and they talked about how being the youngest. It was very brief, but they said being the youngest, they were both the youngest in their family and of their siblings, and it made them more creative, which I do feel like I have a really hard time being creative. Ironically, that's what my YouTube channel is supposedly about, because I don't feel very creative. I feel like being the oldest, you're very just naturally very rigid, and you don't have to adapt because you're kind of like bigger than everyone else and everyone's supposed to listen to you. Also, the parents, like, it's kind of, they're really strict with their first kid or something, because it's like I didn't even know to question things. Like if someone said no, I was like, oh yeah, that means no. So, but then the younger ones and the younger kids, they have more social, like they're a lot better socially, because I think they can maneuver their personalities a little bit more, because they had to adapt to whether like having an older sibling is almost like having another parent, and they could like beat you up. So I don't know. Love you. Always happy to catch your live. So I think I need to call you tonight, maybe decide what I'm doing. But let's see. All right. So I know I did not ask you guys a lot of questions. I basically just used you as my therapist for 30 minutes, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me get all that off my chest. If you do have any advice for the oldest, or even your own experience with your siblings, what is your experience with your siblings? Is the oldest one really rigid, or are you the oldest one? And do you have as many friends as your younger siblings? Let's see. Right. Alley freedom fighter. I feel like as the second oldest, there was so much pressure from my mom and Cami that I was just like, fuck it, and became the troubled child. That's good. I love the ones. Oh my gosh, I have a couple siblings that just know how to question things. Like I said earlier, I don't know that I'm supposed to question. Like someone tells you no, they honestly can't even tell you no, and I'm just like taking the no. It's like, why are you taking the no from them? They don't even have the power to say yes. But all right. I hate to abruptly leave, but I'm running out of things to talk about. Without looking into the birth order is interesting. I'm the fourth, but my oldest siblings are older and some way younger. I was like the only child that got my ass beat and had a baby crying all the damn time. Oh my gosh. So when I first left the order, I could so a fan. I would usually use a fan to go to sleep because babies would cry all the time, and I would try to sleep so I could go to work, right? So I could like at the time, it's kind of went away now, but I could like think I would hear a baby crying when a fan was on because I got so used to that, drowning out the babies. But I'm the second oldest. Okay, well, I'm gonna read your comments not live because we're hitting like 40 minutes. But thank you so much for stopping by and still being around after all this time because I did disappear for a minute. So, all right. Love you guys.